December the 3rd, 2025. Good morning, guys. We're finally getting a little break in this cloud cover and the light rain we've been having for the last few days. Now, we woke up this morning, daylight, below freezing, and what we're looking at now is 39, and real feel is 36, looking over on my screen there. So central Mississippi, it looks like we got a probably pretty good day coming out now. The next 3 days, today, including today, according to the National Weather Service, we were supposed to get some rain in this area. But we're looking at the satellite. The clouds that I'm seeing don't have a lot of moisture in them yet. But there is a handful coming up out of Mexico and across Texas now that may develop. But we may get a break, and we need it. It's been damp and muddy and cold. So I'm proud to see it. I hope some of you guys are starting to see some of this sunlight break out also. Now, what we're talking about here is a journalist called Christopher Rufo, whose City Journal expose, revealed how Minnesota's Somali community stole billions in taxpayer funds. Guys, remember I mentioned jury found unanimously a Somalian that had stole $7 million that we know of. Just one guy on, I think, COVID relief food bank funds, something like that, supposed to be feeding people. And they found him guilty in just 3 or 4 hours because they had so much evidence, all the paperwork, transactions, and everything. But this young judge let him go. Said, no, you don't have enough evidence, even though the jury said he was guilty, and the jury didn't even know what to do at that point. But what's happening is that really peed off a lot of people, including our president. That, and then the fact of the Afghani doing the shooting in D.C. against our 2 guardsmen. But we kind of had a week there, a lot of people off out of the swamp, not a lot of information coming back, but now that's starting to change some. First of all, way to go, Tennessee. You kept that socialist communist out of office, and you kept another Republican seat in the swamp. We need them. They just need to wear boots and take lie detector tests upon entry with a drug test. Anyway, again, he exposed how Minnesota's Somali community stole billions of our taxpayer funds, with money ultimately flowing to a foreign terrorist network. Notes that just weeks after his bombshell report, ICE is now mobilized in Minneapolis. Reports are coming in, guys, from different sources now. They're there, and this is a strike team, not just regular ICE moving through and doing the checks, but they're calling this an ICE strike team, and the title has been deployed to Minneapolis after bombshell Somali welfare fraud report linked to overseas terror. So when I say strike team, I think what we may be looking at is some of these people in the upper Somali community that was doing the rip-offs and covering up for it and everything else. And they think they were slick, and they did. They stole billions since they've been there. Anyway, and it was basically a no-go community in many places. It had gotten pretty ridiculous. It reminded me of the UK. Now, they're saying that the Trump administration has launched a massive ICE enforcement operation in the Minneapolis and St. Paul area, set to target hundreds of illegal alien Somalis. This is coming from one of the people there named Omar Fatah. He says, just in, ICE is all over Minneapolis right now, claiming they are rounding up migrants. No, what do you think they're doing, Omar? Coming there for vacation? That's what ICE does. But so he's putting out the warning and all that, and they're probably looking for the guy that the judge let go over the $7 million fraud scheme. But it's billions of dollars over the years, and when you tie all the groups together, including the governor. And they're focused, according to the strike team's information, on deportation. Not just arrest, stick you away, but getting them out of the country pretty quick. Again, strike team. Last week, Trump Trump wrote on the Truth Social that Minnesota, under Governor Walz, is a hub of fraudulent money laundering activity, adding, "I am, as President of the United States, hereby terminating, effective immediately, the Temporary Protected Status, or TPS, program for Somalis in Minnesota." During a news conference yesterday, Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Fry's loyalties were with the Somalis. That's the problem. Now, ICE needs to, well, maybe not ICE, maybe DOJ needs to go in and arrest Jacob Frey. Rufo commented on the news conference by saying, "Incredible. The Somalis in Jacob Frey's city stole billions of dollars in taxpayer money, and all he can do is mindlessly repeat Orange Man bad." But he's in on the grift. Guys, and yesterday it came out that hundreds of employees at the Minnesota Department of Human Services came out and blasted Governor Tim Walz and told the truth about what he's been doing. So he's in a lot of trouble there. Again, ICE probably won't deal with that, but Pam Bundy damn sure better do it, because all eyes are on her, and these are the enemies within the gate. It's important. It says they're blasted Tim Walz for ignoring repeated warnings about massive Somali welfare fraud schemes and for retaliating against whistleblowers. Even the libtard New York Times called out Walz for this epic mess. Damn. Earlier this week, Treasury Secretary Scott Bensett, who was in the meetings yesterday, announced that his agency would investigate whether Minnesota tax dollars had been funneled to Al-Shabaab. They already found out that happened. The investigation stems directly from Rufo's reporting. Keep in mind, Al-Shabaab is a U.S. designated foreign terrorist organization and an Al-Qaeda affiliate based in Somalia. And guys, you remember Walz? Didn't he run with Hillary to be vice president? Or was that someone else? Maybe, anyway. Think about that. Think about what she knew. This has been going on for a long time. The Mall of America there has been a no-go zone for years and years, 10, 12 years maybe. Someone correct me on that or let me know what the fact is. But I remember reports of people getting injured. One young kid, white kid, getting thrown off the second floor of the mall, messed up for life because he was white, 6, 7 years old. That's what happens. That's what's happened to UK. That's what's happened to Europe. And that's what, we were the last one standing. And I guess enough prayer woke enough people up to get out and do the right thing in the votes. And again, with people like Elon, who mentions this, we're talking about getting in there with Doge and cleaning out some of the crooked voting apparatuses. Again, I think this was one of the questions that were during the meeting. They had the last cabinet meeting yesterday at 2025. It was so much hot air going on there and bragging that, and it was all good, but it wasn't worth watching. Now, what I enjoy is when the press gets to ask a few questions at the end of those things, and that's when you really get some information. But Trump was on fire yesterday when the reporters were trying to take up for the Somalians, and he said that they contribute nothing. I don't want them in our country. That's not politically correct, but I don't care. I don't want them here. Their country is no good for a reason. You got the people that want to come here and steal, guys. All of our money. We work ourselves into the ground and die old and poor and work down because people like Biden and the Clintons and the Bushes started migrating more and more people in. And what we're finding out now, all the vetting that they said happened during the auto pen situation was never vetted. They were let go because it was just like in the Albert Pike letter, unleash the nihilist. That's what they were doing. And see, it was all too late in UK. It's worse by the day when you read about Scotland or UK or France. It's like you're living in a horror zone, a bad movie. And I feel sorry for you. If I was in the UK as a UK resident, I would be looking heavily into getting a visa into the U.S. and applying for citizenship, because that country, it's going to take God, I guess, to sweep his hand across there to clean that mess up. But here we have a fighting chance, and again, that's why I'm so proud of Tennessee. Says the optics couldn't be worse for Democrats, highlighting how their nation-killing mass migration policies, shot heard around the world, isn't it, guys? They have fueled chaos and enabled large-scale abuse of taxpayer funds, money that, according to Rufo's reporting, was even funneled overseas to a terrorist organization, again, Al-Shabaab. The far left imported voters to gain power, and it worked. And they wanted the power to be able to allow the U.S. to destroy itself from within. It's called one worldism, communism, and it's evil. Now, coming out of the Epoch Times, they're saying Trump said yesterday that he had nullified all documents. He said he was going to do it. Now it's done. Nullify all documents, proclamations, executive orders, memorandums, and contracts signed by AutoPen during President Joe Biden's term, null and void. Any and all documents, proclamations, executive orders, memorandums, contracts signed by order of the now infamous and unauthorized AutoPen within the administration of Joseph R. Biden Jr. are hereby null, void, and of no further force or effect, Trump wrote in a social media post. Now, we talked about that. What about the appointed judges? Anyone receiving pardons, commutations, or any other legal document so signed, please be advised that said document has been fully and completely terminated and is of no legal effect. Thank you for this attention to the matter. And guys, that's what has to be done. Some people say it's getting rough and tough. It has to. The gates are breached. Now the battle is within the gates. So things have to be rough and tough. So everyone just realize what's going on, and maybe someone will wake up some of those fools in these blue cities, which I doubt, guys, because they're so indoctrinated with stupidity that they will never change. You wouldn't want them doing anything else but just go off in the corner, get you a little job somewhere that'll hire you, and flip burgers. But you're not going to be on welfare. You're going to pay taxes like everybody else. Just get out of office, or you, the ones that don't need to go straight to jail. The declaration follows Trump's November 28th announcement that he was revoking all executive orders signed by the AutoPen. Now it's legally done. And it continues, it said, according to some legal scholars, now you know they're dimtards, right? U.S. presidents may revoke previously issued executive orders, as they said. However, revoking pardons may be unconstitutional and could face roadblocks, expert told the Epoch Times. Now, those roadblocks are the radical judges that may have also has AutoPen in their appointment. That's what I'm hoping for. Get every pardon. And man, it was some really bad people that got pardoned, including Hunter. But I can't remember. Did he pardon Bill and Hillary? I don't remember so much information going around, but all of that is null and void now, and that needs to happen. I'm waiting to see what the House and the Senate are going to do about some of the other things that we've been looking at. And right now, I do know that you saw last week to where Comey and one other person, they did not, their cases were dropped by a libtard judge. But now the Department of Justice is getting directly involved in filing new subpoenas and, I guess, warrants to create all of that. So Comey and whoever's in that involved with him, I know Clinton is, but that bunch did not get away with getting off a couple of weeks ago. And that's how these crooks work. So right now, all they've done is really put a bigger target on their back. They're going to fight tooth and nail. They will call in false flags. they will continue to call Antifa to tear things down and give people money to have a No King's Day when they're broke. Anyway, $300 million for that stupid day anyway that the Democrats spent. But guys, this is what needs to happen. I can't say enough about what happened in Tennessee. That was a really good first initial move into the 2026 midterms. And it really, the Dems are downhearted. They're mad. They probably want to say it was rigged before it's all said and done. But it was a slap in the face to the Democrats because they had been bragging because Mondami won, that they were winning nationwide, and they never tell the truth. But this is a slap back, and it makes people realize that they were lying. Not only that, I hope it makes them realize they better get up off their butt and vote through these midterms. We can't lose any seats. So watch on this channel as those future elections come up. We're going to kind of keep an eye on it and see who's doing what. But right now, guys, we are moving in the right direction. They're still trying to get on Pete Hegseth about blowing up the fentanyl boats, and maybe some weapons involved in some of that. We don't know because we were told that we got 3 cartels working in Venezuela that are not from there: Hamas, Hezbollah, and the Houthis. And so it's just a big drug center and cartel ring. And when Trump said they're moving on land, a lot of people, they mistook that, I think, and saying, oh, we can't have ground troops and all that. He didn't say we're going to have ground troops. Never did he say that. He said we would take the battle to the land. And when you have the Air Force and the offshore Navy like that, in the pinpoint accuracy of every weapon that took out the nuclear crap in Iran, you don't need to put boots on the ground. He didn't say that. And I'm all for that not happening. I don't want to see any of our young troops killed in a damn drug war. But this is more than just a drug war, and because it's a breeding ground for people that want to destroy our nation. And Mayorkas let a lot of those in and facilitated money going in that direction. Probably what helped them get over here. But it's all run, those 3 are run by Iran. We're watching it, guys. You watch it. It's a heads up. Be safe.